You know, that image of Palpatine with the Force lightning shooting out at you is really quite creepy when you look at it on a full screen monitor in front of you like this. That's some. Ugh. Hello and good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Unlimited Power Results video series where I go through recent results of tournaments, top players, who's won, and paint a picture of the metagame in the UK for you to take and use and inform your deck building decisions and choices as to what you're going to play over the rest of the set. In this case, it's set 2. But first, we'll do what I've been doing for a while because building the community is important to me, and building the community involves a lot of making sure people know what events are out there for you to go to and play games with and get to know more people and spread the word about how good this game is. So, here's what's coming up in the UK over the next few months. Store Showdown season has begun. I think 3 or 4 Store Showdowns taking place over this weekend. Coming up at the end of this month is the UKTC did an event last week as of time of filming in Leicester, a 1K GT, and they're following it up with 2 more. They're doing a big London GT event, which they do every year, which is a 3-day event now, focusing primarily on war games. You got Warhammer, you got 40k, you got AOS, you got Titanicus, you got Old World, you got Heresy, you've got Aeronautica, you got other games as well. You got Infinity, you got Star Wars Shatterpoints in there, Marvel Crisis Protocols in there, and now Star Wars Unlimited is coming to it as well, and they're running Star Wars Unlimited events. One full tournament on the Saturday, one full tournament on the Sunday. Links for tickets on both of those events will be in the video description below, along with a bunch of other links which I'll detail as we go through the video. But again, here we going back to Store Showdowns briefly. Here is a schedule of what Store Showdowns there are in the country. I understand some of these dates have changed since the time this was published, but this will do at least as an overview picture for the best that I've got right now. I'm going to flick through these. Not the biggest clip in the world, but some clip because we don't need to linger on this horrendously long. I'm planning on attending 4 Store Showdowns myself before the season ends. So maybe I'll see you at one of those if you're watching this in the UK and planning on attending a showdown or 2. If so, I look forward to it. It'll be good to hopefully play you, give you a game. After Store Showdown finishes and after those 2 UKTC 1Ks are the 3 Planetary Qualifiers for Set 2. As of time of filming, Sheffield is sold out. Patriot Games. Mox in a Hole in Edinburgh is sold out. Firestorm Games in Cardiff had 2 tickets left just before I recorded this, so they may well still be there at this point. If you want it, go and get them. They're not going to be there much longer, I suspect. Following that, we've got the last quarter of the year, during which Set 3 will be released. It will have the Twilight of the Republic pre-releases and the release date. Spoilers of the cards in the set are beginning to flow like drain water. Not that they are drain water in any way, shape, or form. They're more like mana from no, that's maybe going a bit too far. Anyway, either way, the spoilers are happening. Check content creators, check the Star Wars Unlimited social media channels. If you're on the UK Discord, we have a previews channel in there as well, which feeds all the previews as and when they happen into it. Follow it. It's all cool. We'll see. We had Shark T today, who looks pretty awesome. The Set 1 reprint is also due nebulously around the time of Holidays 2024, which is roughly around the same sort of period. So we're going to have the big Clone Wars release, and then we're going to have the big Spark Rebellion reprint as well, all happening at the same time. So the game could be exploding by the end of the year, which I'm really looking forward to. But the big news of the day, at least, is the weekend just gone saw a major tournament take place in Manchester, hosted by OPE on behalf of Asmodee UK. Over 2 days, the first big, the actual main Swiss rounds of it, 8 rounds of it, happened on the Saturday, with side events on request for those people who decided to drop out and didn't want to drink their sorrows at the nice and handy bar at the end of the hall. Day 2 was the top 8 knockout rounds, which they streamed the semis and the finals, and I think at least one of the quarterfinal rounds in there as well. I'll put a link to just look up OPE on Twitch. That's where all the videos are, and that's where all the footage of the streams that they did of this event. They're all in there. Also on day 2, for those who didn't make the top 8, which is quite a lot of people out of the 170 who showed up on day 1, they did a grand draft. They did a grand sealed event with the new 6 boosters, same sort of format you find in the pre-release. They did draft pods on demand. They did Twin Suns pods on demand. I was lucky enough to get to play in a Twin Suns pod with 4 other awesome people. You were great. Really gutted you didn't let me win, but, well, hey, I appreciate the call you made, and it is absolutely fine. No worries whatsoever. First place overall in the big event was Josh Freeman Birch, also known as Yehosera, and he ran a Boba Green deck. It was not ECL, it was Boba Green. He went 11 games undefeated all weekend, and his deck was 54 cards. There is a link in the video description below to the final standings for the entire OPE main event, with the list of who was in there and who's playing what, and deck lists are all in there. I'm not going to go through deck lists in this video because I don't want it to drag on forever and ever. I want this to be relatively speedy going through this information. Plus, at least 3 other content creators whom I respect and value a great deal have done this in some detail. KTOD have done one, Thork has done one, Woo has done one, and I'm just naming the ones that I've seen and I've watched myself, not to diss any of the other ones that are out there by now as well. Links to those 3 are in the video description below if you want to go see some very detailed observations and analysis on the meta, what it means, the picture overall, and going over all the deck lists involved in detail by some extremely expert players. Check those out. You could do an absolute load worse. So congratulations to Josh. You did an absolutely amazing job. Props out to you, mate. Well played. Yeah, not a lot more to say about that one. You absolutely commanded the event. So yeah, good man. Hopefully I won't run into you when I go to a Store Showdown in London. But then again, hopefully I do, because maybe I'll learn something. Second place, Howie Williams went second using Palpatine Blue. He went 8-3 overall, using the hard control deck Palpatine Blue. So again, his deck list is in the link with for the final standings. After Howie, third and fourth place were Dave Cerberus Hoyland running Boba Mono Yellow and Michael Silk running Palp Mono Green. 8-2 is an amazing result out of 170 players. These guys absolutely knocked it out of the park. Dave's a great player. Mike has done so well, going from strength to strength in the games that I've seen him play at the tournaments that I've seen him play at. So, props to you both. Dave made me promise I would not shout him out for being a thief and stealing my notebook and my pen, which is totally not your fault because I didn't I completely forgot about them when I was leaving to go home. So it's totally on me, and I'm not shouting you out for it in the slightest. Don't worry about it, Dave. Moving on from there, the rest of the top 8 cut were Tristan Gauntley running Boba Mono Yellow. Samuel Cherubscuro Short was running Han 2 Blue. Alex Nasaif Deacon caught a lot of attention with his Ray Yellow deck, which is previously unheard of in the metagame successfully. I don't know if it's heard of in the metagame at all, to be honest with you. Although I did see him last week at UKTC in Leicester, played him there, and it was a solidly played deck, so props to you, extremely well done for going top 8 at this event. And Omar Ahmed rounding out the top 8 with Sabine ECL. He was the only 6-2 player who made it into the top 8 cut. Everyone else was either 7-1 or 8-0 in the case of Josh. So congratulations to all of you guys. You did a stunningly blinding job. So again, very, very well done indeed. I wanted to show the rest of the people who went 6-2 and therefore had a shot of getting into the top 8, but did not manage to on sheer strength of schedule. These guys have also played an extremely good set of games all day. So I want to shout out in 9th place Jack Mooney running Kira ECL. 10th place Marcus Mottram, who ran Han 2 Blue. 11th place Thomas Lewis running Boba Mono Yellow. 12th place Michael Spearman running Sabine ECL. 13th place was Sam Wharton, who ran Palps Blue. 14th place was Oliver Big O Notation Simons, who ran Bosk Green, mixing up from the Harn 2 green that he ran last week at UKTC in Leicester. 15th place was Matthew Texan, running Sabine ECL. 16th place, David Sutcliffe, ran Ray Red, keeping that relevant in the meta. Props to you, mate. Aaron Airley made 17th place with Bosk ECL. There's a lot of Bosk in here, isn't there? Wow. That's on the rise, which we'll see a little bit more of in the meta snapshot later. 18th place, Lewis Witham managed 6 and 2 with Bob Mono Yellow, and he managed to stay sane by somehow agreeing to put me up for the night. Thanks so much. Lewis is one of the most friendly, most community-minded people I've met so far in Star Wars Unlimited, and it's a joy to have made your acquaintance, and thank you very much for putting up with me overnight. 19th place was Wojciech Franczak, running Bosk Green. Obviously decided Kira ECL wasn't for him after playing that last week at the UKTC in Leicester. Obviously done very, very well with Bosk ECL, so props to you, Vodgy. 20th place, Paul Burke was running Sabine ECL and handily beat the crap out of me with that in the last game of day one. So again, congrats, Paul. 21st, Stephen Miller-Hammett was running Harn 2 Green ECL. 22nd was Dale Barker, who was probably the third most talked about person over the entire event once results were out there, after Josh running first place, Alex taking Ray Yellow into the top 8. And here we have Lando Tarkintown going 6 and 2 out of 170 people in one of the most competitive and largest events in the world for Star Wars Unlimited. So very, very big congratulations to you, Dale. I strongly recommend you take a look at his deck list in the OPE standings link below and see the results of such innovation. 23rd place, Daniel Turner was running Bosk ECL Green, and 24th was Samuel Tuttle, who was running Harn 2 Green. Just because these people run the gamut from 9th place to 24th place, every single one of them won 6 games and only dropped 2, so that is a colossal achievement. Props to you all. If you run across these names in Store Showdowns, bring your A game is all I can say. The overview of the meta itself as to what what leaders were represented is right here in front of us. Obviously, looking at this, one of the takeaways is that Lando is the single best deck to play in the game with a win rate of 75%. Possibly not to be taken quite so seriously with only one showing, and therefore nothing to be averaged out over anybody else. So that speaks to Alex's skill. Was it Alex? Sorry, Dale's skill in running that. I'm very, very sorry. There's a lot of names here. But other win percentages here that are noteworthy are, of course, Boba at 58%, Palpatine 57%, Iden at 55%, although there were only 3 of them, so sample size is getting low again. On the same note, Kylo, only 2 of those, but a 57% win rate is nothing to be sniffed at. And we can see that Sabine, obviously, tons of Sabine decks, tons of Boba, Harn 2 blue, well, not necessarily blue, Harn 2 almost rivaling the number of Boba decks that there were there, and Kira decks that there were there, although, as you will have noticed, there weren't that many Kira decks high performing in the top 24 that I've just been through. Bosk on the rise there, and then on down from there. So take from that again as you wish. Which leads us into the meta summary for the UK overall, where I feed in the top 8 decks from the UKTC event list that's just gone, as well as events that have been run for the UK for Set 2 up till now, that I've got data for, that have had like 20 or more players, so a reasonable sample size to take for the top 8. And I've added all the top 24 into this, so we get a bigger mix of decks and people in there, and frankly, everybody who went 6 and 2 at Manchester deserves to have been included in this meta snapshot summary. So here we go. Again, this is not winning decks. This is decks that have placed highly. So Boba and Sabine among them were counting for around about 45% a week or 2 ago. They've now gone down to just over 30% between them. Kira's creeping up, taking the total to, I don't know, maybe 45% between those 3 decks. adding in Bosk to about 55%-ish, adding in Han 2 taking to about 60-65%. It's interesting seeing the number and frequency of high-performing decks grow and shift and change from week to week. You can see that if you're planning to do well, you have to be planning to face Boba Mono Yellow. You have to be planning to face Sabine Green. You all now also have to be planning to face Kira Green, Boss Green, Han 2 Blue. And anything below that, just because they're rare, doesn't mean they're less potent, because Boba Green is obviously only 3 decks out of all of this with 4.23% representation, but that was the one that won the Manchester event. Palpatine Green, only one of, and that top 8'd in the Manchester event. The Lando was potent. Looking at this, this represents 13 leaders out of the 38 that are currently in the game, which is about a third of the leaders that have been released so far have shown strong performances in Set 2 in the UK to date. Valuable information for you to be taking into your Store Showdowns, into your Planetary Qualifiers, into your UKTC 1Ks, and whatever else comes our way for the next couple of months until Set 3 comes along. And this resets, and we begin all over again with a whole new batch of leaders and bases and deck archetypes, hopefully, as everything mixes up. So, thank you very much for watching once again. Your viewing is very much appreciated. We hope you found value in what we do. As always, usual stuff. Please do, if you like what I'm doing here, do like the video. Do leave a comment and shout out your opinions and your views. Tell me I'm wrong. Everybody on the internet loves telling people that they're wrong. Do please subscribe for more content like this. The results videos have become more and more what we do the most of, but they're not all we do. We do open hands games where we show you what we're playing and why. We do looks at starter decks, gameplay, how we would recommend you improve them either with rare cards or with commons or uncommons if you're on a budget. There's all sorts of stuff that we've got on here, so take a look through our library, and otherwise have great fun playing Star Wars Unlimited. Thanks very much for watching. Cheers.